I would have things more in the component. So maybe what we do here, we could give just an example of like what it might be to how. I wonder if maybe this is a place where we comment and just say like, hey, just want to make sure that you knew you can inject the store in a component and actually do those CRUD actions.
So you want to comment
from within there
on here?
Yeah, or on the existing answer. I mean, this is a case where, I don't want to recreate this user's answer, even though that's kind of the Stack Overflow way, because Donald gave a really good answer here. I don't want to rewrite it. So maybe we can just add a little bit.
I've had experiences where I've kind of referred to other users when kind of answering, if you know what I mean. So it's like I've had cases where I've built on other people's answers but kind of referenced them in my answer, if that makes sense. So as opposed to like the thing that I've kind of worry about in terms of the thing that I kind of worry about in terms of kind of commenting on here or on here. I don't know if they get notified if Syl, is that how you pronounce it, will get notified of another answer if we commented on somebody else's.
Oh.
I'm not sure if that's something that we want to even consider.
It's tough.
We're all new to this, by the way. We're not super Stack Overflow experts, and maybe that's what we're trying to.
Let's just add it as a second answer.
Okay.
We'll break the Stack Overflow patterns a little, and we'll reference like everything Dave said. We'll upvote, or Donald rather. We'll upvote Donald, and perfect. I'll upvote Donald as well, and that way everybody gets notified, and yet we have added something useful. So, if while you're writing that out, for anyone who's sort of new to Stack Overflow, there are some like really interesting communication norms that are in place for the site. And just yesterday, there was a blog post where they said they're starting to think about revamping some of those to make them a little bit more friendly, maybe breaking down some of those norms to make it easier for people to interact. And so we're just going to roll with it, I think. While you're doing that, I'm going to make a new Ember app, and I'm going to try the route action helper on it.
Just to double check.
If it is the case that it doesn't work, we should probably file an issue to let them know. So the route action helper that was referenced here is something that lets you define your actions directly on the route.js. So if I have a route called blog, it has a blog handlebars template, it has blog.js, and if you put actions right in the route, they're not available to pass down to child components. If you want to pass the actions from your route down to the child components, you actually have to live on the controller, because the route has the model gets passed to the controller, and the controller passes the model and actions down through the route template to child components. Route action helper lets you circumvent that. You can put your route actions directly on the route and then pass them down, but it's not really necessary. And if you look at their README, it says as much on there that's like, hey, just so you know, you probably don't need this add-on. But I do know it's been quite popular in the past, and I've used it as well. So let me see. All right, so what's going on here? You missed a D on Donald, by the way, in that message. Pair programming.
Donald. Thank you very much. You can actually jump in and type if you wanted to.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
this
that's
is the like
confusing.
super Slack mode.
Oh, weird. What if
It's
I jump in and I
it,
upvote Donald while you're doing that? Then, oh,
then
that's neato.
you're upvoting as me, so do it.
I'm gonna do it.
You have the power.
All right, carry on.
So,
So let's see. I have how do I install route action helper? I want to make sure I get the actual name of it. I've found that anytime I embark on a project like this, I almost always stumble upon other things that could be done to fix things up. I once built a drop-down menu for, I was trying to build a drop-down menu web component thing for the website and ended up writing a bunch of Glimmer documentation and like debugging things, which may have been the ulterior motive of the person who asked for my help, is that I wouldn't be able to leave the documentation alone if I was reading it. All right, 3.1. All right. Let me think. What else can we do here? I think that's pretty good. So ever install. All right. Chris, I think I should try to figure out for next time, maybe. Let's figure out how to pass off the screen share.
oh, you can do that now if you want.
Well, I didn't set it up yet. Give me a second. I have too many windows open.
That's okay.
Because I could be doing this thing while you're writing.
That's cool. Yeah, I was poking around with the sharing thing, the OBS system a lot. So I kind of have a feeling on how to like have multiple scenes where one scene is me sharing my screen and the other one is yours, and I can quickly swap between the two. Even has
that's
fade
cool.
transitions, which is even cooler.
Oh,
yeah, it's awesome. I went a little bit too nerd sniped on that.
well, I mean, that's the whole. If we're using Twitch and all that, that's what we have to do. We're obligated to embrace the technology and the nerdiness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. So I made a route. So what I'm doing here in the background, and you can, if it's distracting for me to be talking endlessly while you're typing, let me know.
I think it'll be useful for you to kind of take control of the screen when you're talking and typing. So let me know when you want to attempt that.
Sure. Let me silence a bunch of things. Okay. So I've done that. That's fine. That's okay. I have a lot of... I should do this. You know what I think I might do is make like another account, like another user on this laptop, because
oh, that's a good idea.
I always have so many things open that I don't particularly want to destroy my workspace, but okay. So you can go ahead and pass the screen share to me somehow.
So on the thing, I stopped screen sharing, and now you start screen sharing.
Here in Slack.
There you go.
Great.
So let me just...
Okay. So what I've done here...
Hold on, I'm just trying to I need to do, what is it? Window capture. There we go. Window capture. And then I add the Slack call. Woo, there we go. You are now sharing.
Is it good?
It's good.
I don't have Twitch up. All right, so what I did here was I guess let me scroll through those commands this way. So while Chris was working on things, I uninstalled my old version of CLI, which I think I was on 3.0. I can make this even bigger. I should probably make it huge. So I uninstalled my old CLI with npm uninstall -g ember CLI. I reinstalled it, which will grab the latest stable version. So in that case, this is 3.1. Then I did Ember V to check and see, which version of Ember am I actually running to make sure that everything worked as I expected. Then I generated a new 3.0 or 3.1 app that you can see here on the left, and I installed Ember Route Action Helper. And now we're here looking at that app. So the way the Route Action Helper works, I think you have to invoke it somehow. I think you put the actions in here. Yes. So we put the actions in here in our route JavaScript. So I have a route called blog that I've generated, and we're going to call this stream. And we'll have it console log something. Now, without the helper, if I wanted to pass this action down, let's do ember g component. So I'm going to make a component called live stream example. And without that helper, I would get an error that the action is not found if I tried to use that action within that component. But within the route action helper, we should be able to pass it down. Let's see, what am I doing here? I called my action live stream. Okay. And so now in live stream example, I want to have a button. And I don't remember. I do not remember how to call this here. I think it might work this way. I'm gonna find out. Clickable. All right, I'm just gonna start it up and see what happens. I've probably made a typo somewhere. I did already. That was fast.
Nice.
Oh, I copy pasted this too hard. All right, let's see. There we go. Obviously.
So is that all it is? It's you just use this like helper in the
Mm-hmm.
and then it does its magic.
All right. Let's see here. Ooh. There's the landing page. Oh, there's my button way down at the bottom here in the corner. That's funny. And let me look at my console. So theoretically, assertion failed. No action handler for live stream. Oh, I don't remember how to do this. Oh, you know what? Is this passing it? When you get a chance.
Okay, I'll look at your screen.
Oh, it's
now.
because I passed it down as clicked. What am I doing? Okay, hang on. Live stream. Try this again. Nope, still nothing. No action handler for live stream. Maybe I'm supposed to. Is it being passed as a closure action? Or maybe, I mean, we're trying to figure out. Oh, no, it works. There it goes. It's fine.
Oh yeah, because you're passing the thing in as just live stream equals and then root.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
back when I first used this add-on, closure actions were either not a thing or I didn't know about them. And so everything was actions were I always invoke them in quotation marks, but here it's being passed as a variable.
Yeah, that's what I always think of
like
it as. Like I always think of it as passing in a variable in this sort of case. So it's like when it's a variable, you don't need to put it in quotes.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Whereas if it's in quotation marks, it's an attribute that's being looked up inside of an actions hash instead of a function assigned to a variable. Ooh, that is, I'm going to have to think of a better way to put that into English.
Well, I think we're
at some point.
I think we're actually solving a lot of those sorts of problems with some syntax that's coming down the road anyway. The whole at params or whatever it's called, where you can always tell when you're inside a component what's coming from the component itself, what's being passed in, and what's like.
Yes.
So actually, you'll be able to tell.
I forget what that RFC is called.
I don't know what the RFC is called, but it's all I know is that it solves a lot of these problems.
I can pull it up real quick as well, and then if you want to take back the screen share in a moment.
Well, I think it would be good for you to.
Is that one merged? Has that one been merged in? I don't remember.
I think it might have been one of the ones that Godfrey did recently.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at really old stuff. Here we go. It must have been merged in. So if anyone's not familiar with RFCs, it's requests for comments, and anyone can write one of these RFCs proposing a new feature or a deprecation or a new way to talk about something as a whole. And so you can also get support from other people in the community in order to write one of these. So you don't have to have done the implementation or even know how to do the implementation in order for it to be an RFC in here. I cannot find it because I do not remember anything about what it was called, but it's in here somewhere. All right, do you want to take the screen share back?
Sure thing. Let's see what happens when I transition. This is funny.
I've lost my windows.
I'm
Here
still.
we go. I'm going.
That's funny.
All right, I stopped my screen share.
Perfect. Yeah, you're back with us. You're back with us. but I have actually I've broken things. Top 250.
This is so hard.
Oh, this is way harder than
This
it
is
needs to be.
this is what I struggled with at the meetup that I help with here in Boston, trying to figure out how to get the streaming of people's slides. As 5 different people gave 5-minute mini talks, we spent more time passing it off than people did talking. Are you good?
I'm good, and you're good as well. You are back with us.
Great.
Although I think you are slightly shorter than you were last time. I don't know if I can take a bit back off the top. There you go.
I can't even find that screen. I can't. Where do I look?
We're professionals, yo.
I don't know where I'm looking. Where do I find your screen share? Why don't I see it? I see you.
Oh, you see me?
Wait, where am I supposed to look?
Then that means I'm not sharing my screen with you anymore.
Wait, I'm looking at Slack.
There
we go. Okay, that's better.
And you
All right,
have edit control as well.
Do an example of how to do what you're trying to achieve. Okay. There's the same form to create. Okay.
I'm actually just going to show the code because I don't really care too much about it.
Yeah,
it's just
sure.
kind of generic stuff. So it's I think I can do copy project path. That's not what I asked for. Copy project path. There you go. That's what I wanted.
I have experienced something with pasting into Stack Overflow before, or like between different applications, where like it's almost like my computer has 2 different clipboards. It's very annoying.
Yeah, I think one thing I noticed is that there's a different clipboard for actual text and files. So it's like you can have random files that you copy pasted like years ago or months ago coming up if you haven't kind of copied a file since. So
could you crank up the magnification
of this?
the zoom on like everything? I'm gonna make us a checklist, I think.
Yeah, checklist manifesto.
So that, because there's all of these strange setup steps, and I think it could be, we're gonna need to run through this every time. So
yeah.
You know what we should do? I should get one of my friends who live streams to to QC, be like, all right, what is there a way that we could be doing this more easily? Let's call this, may I ask a question?
So
we also, I think one option here is we could, for future questions, we could do something where, like, you know, we talk through what the answer is, maybe sketch out some of the bullet points, and then finish up the full write-up afterwards.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it was very useful last time where we were it worked for us essentially, where we were talking about it and doing it, and then essentially we wrote it after and posted it, and then we can add it in the description of the YouTube video once that's done.
Right. Like, I thought maybe I should record my process sometime for writing articles. And I realized that if I did that, it would probably be just a lot of me like looking like this at my screen and sighing. Like that would be the whole live stream. So I haven't done that. I might do like maybe a time lapse or something.
Well, we could do that right now because we're learning on the job. Essentially, just I don't know if you've read what I've written so far, but the thing that I'm trying to go for here is this idea of having this edit instance component, and the save action is actually inside that component for you.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to not be using it in that way here, just because I have different things happening on save when you're creating it versus when you're editing it. But it would be very easy for you to move that save action into the edit instance component.
Yeah. Yep.
But so essentially the rest of this answer would just be me kind of filling out some details and examples of that.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would want me to add?
No, I think the other important bit is just to make sure we put in a block that shows injecting the store. Because when I was new to Ember, I didn't know that you actually could use the store within components. And when I got my first job, I was amazed to find like, oh, look, I found these examples of like, oh, people are using the store. How are they using the store? This must be a different version of Ember or something. And what they had done was did an app-wide injection of the store into all components, which is not, I would not recommend injecting anything into anything across your entire application, because we had a lot of pain in, not with the store, but with other services. Once that was done, our testing suite was kind of in ruins.
Oh, because you'd have to needs everything back in the needs days. You'd have
it
to.
was so bad.
Oh,
it was
God.
horrible. I couldn't get tests to run. It took me like 2 weeks
Oh, God.
to slowly figure out how to get the test suite to run. So I don't recommend injecting the store and everything, but like to me, that was actually like when I discovered that was done, I was like, oh, wow, cool. I can use the store and components, because I had this belief that I couldn't. So anyway.
Sure, there's a wink. There we go. So yeah, I'll leave that as a note for myself to kind of complete that after the stream then.
And copy that into something. Maybe we should keep a scratch sheet. We should keep a scratch sheet of like occasionally copy and paste this into a Dropbox paper or something, because I'm thinking if your computer decides that it hates running all these programs at once,
it's ridiculous.
And you would lose this. So
just
you pulling up your activity monitor? What do we got here? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not happy right now.
Aw. Poor computer. All right.
Okay, so will we move on to the next one, or what's your time looking like?
So I have a hard stop just before 10. So that's also why I'm suggesting like maybe this is a good pattern for us, is like we tackle a question, we debug a thing. So we've started writing the response, and we've verified that whatever issue you were maybe having with route action helpers in 3.1, there might be something else going on that out of the box route action helpers works fine.
So
for
from
3.1, so that was pretty good.
So from my perspective on that one, it was a massive upgrade from 2.14 or something straight to 3.1 for reasons, and I don't know if I checked that the route action helper was updated as well. So,
that could do it.
Yeah, it's definitely one to kind of warn people about. If you are doing some sort of massive update, even though it's not necessarily recommended, you should do it from LTS to LTS if you're way behind. just make sure that all your add-ons are also up to date.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I'm thinking one of the future weeks as well. I don't remember if I said this in chat, but we could take a look at some of the old Stack Overflows for how do I upgrade my app. In the next issue of the Ember Times, there's actually a section about asking for people to help update official resources as well. So I think if we can get some of those official resources updated, that gives people material for commenting on things like Stack Overflow, or like personally, I have an outdated blog article that I wrote a long time ago that still gets some views. And that ought to reflect the latest as well. That's a pretty huge improvement to be able to use Ember CLI update to make a whole bunch of changes. So that won't help you with your add-on compatibility. That's the thing that has to be sorted out separately.
But there are still helpers for that as well. Like I then, once I do the Ember CLI update script and then do the code mods, I then use npm check -u. I don't know if you've ever used this. It's like
No.
I think there's one that just works on npm as well, but it's like an interactive update that shows you what you've currently got installed, and then it kind of I can show you actually because I've got a bunch here.
Oh, I would love to see this actually, because we're going to be I have an app that's on 2.16. Yes, 2.16 right now, that we're going to try to move to 3.0 in the next couple weeks.
I'm going to go and just do it in one of my apps that I know is super behind or whatever. Stone Circle, AuthMaker dashboard. So npm check -u. Obviously going to go off and do some npm related things now, so it takes a while. But it then gives you this kind of interactive, like, that one's old. Loader.js, like some of these things. This is why you should do it after the Ember CLI update. So some of these things will be updated as part of it. But like this one, oh god, I don't even know if I should be using that anymore. But like that one, and then what is this? This other one over here. I can just push enter now, and it will run the update for those two things that have been selected.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Very cool. Well, thank you for sharing that.
That's I think that was like a npm install -g npm check. But yeah.
Sweet. All right, I gotta run.
Awesome.
It's time for my work day. But thank you very much for walking through this. This was fun. And I think for next week, I think we should go ahead and announce on Monday the time.
Oh, cool.
And everything.
So
I didn't do it for this one so that we could continue to be free to work out whatever technical difficulties we might have. But are you ready to, should we go ahead and announce it for next week?
Absolutely. I think I'm having a lot of fun doing this, and I think it's going to be a little bit more manic, maybe, when there's a bunch of people in the chat room saying, "Oh, look at
you're
this."
Optimistic.
Yeah, when I say a bunch, I mean 3.
Gonna come hang out with us at 9 a.m. my time.
It's 2 p.m. over here, so
that's better. It's after people's lunch breaks.
Exactly.
So.
On Friday.
Are hard. Good point. TGIF. Okay. I will go ahead and sign off then, and I will catch you later.
Awesome. See you, Jen.
All right.